welcome all. My name is Frank Crawford, and welcome to this month's Passive House Alberta Coffee Talk. Today we will be hearing from Rodney Cornel with HVAC Systems and Supply, all about the new to North America, but not new to the world, Swagon Casa residential sized ERV and HRV units. So Rodney is a mechanical engineer with over 15 years of experience, consulting on a variety of projects and industries, as well as being a technical sales and equipment selection representative. He is currently with HVAC Systems and Solutions Limited as their engineering account representative, helping people design sustainable solutions in the industrial, institutional, residential, commercial projects all around Alberta. So without further ado, take it away, Rodney.
Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Rodney Cornel. Yes, I am a PN registered with Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC with about 13 to 15 years consulting experience with multiple firms. And I've been with HVAC Systems and Solutions, particularly with their Northern Alberta office as a inside sales and their estimator for the last year and a half. So we're happy to do this presentation with you today for the Coffee Talk with Passive House Alberta and Swagon to introduce you more to our Swagon Casa systems, basically the perfect fit for anything for 50 CFM to 500 CFM, residential, multi-unit residential, and you could call it light commercial applications. So as you can see, HVAC Systems and Solutions has been serving Western Canada for the last 23 years. Our president, whose photo in the nice red jacket there, is Jivan Thacker. He's our president and our sales manager. Next to him is Christina Herbers. She is our account executive for Northern Alberta, with our office right here in St. Albert or Edmonton, Alberta. The middle photo is myself, serving as your inside sales, estimation, and engineering account representative, working with our manufacturers' reps. I'm proud to announce that before last year, we had 4 offices. Now we have 5. So now we have Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, BC Interior, Northern Alberta, and starting this February 2023, we have our Southern Alberta office with Kyle Shimagum as account executive, who is next in the photo to my right, and Abram McAleer, who is also an account executive, working to serve Southern Alberta out of Calgary. To the right are our feature products, where today, of course, we'll be talking Swagon. And in addition to Swagon, in that list is other product offerings that are perfect for high performance buildings, whether it be step code for BC, net zero applications, or passive house applications, all the way down to our Cleamore units, which is a great modular solution when you need to go with something that needs more DDC controls and large applications. So of course, we serve commercial, institutional, multifamily, healthcare, industrial, and zero emissions and passive house, or now we like to coin it as high performance buildings. Our manufacturers for Alberta, we have about 30 plus lines, but I know someone's gonna count and say you actually have 41 different items listed there on your page. That is correct. We tried to make our website as easy to use for if you're trying to research as part of your coordination with us. So now to not go too much further into the pitch, I'd like to introduce you to Yiteng Ma, who is our applications engineering manager for Swagon North America.
So hi folks, so in partnership with HVAC System, I am Yiteng from Swagon North America. So currently, I am working as the application engineering manager within the commercial ventilation group. I've been with Swagon for almost 9 years, and my background is building science and mechanical engineering. So I'm also very actively involved in ASHRAE, AHRI, and passive house projects. You know, normally my colleague Ashpan is doing this kind of presentation, but right now, unfortunately, he's traveling. So I will be covering him for this section. So in today's section, we're going to briefly discuss some residential heat or energy recovery unit, the CASA unit that Swagon is offering, and discuss some of the energy saving potential. So, you know, as a manufacturing company, Swagon always distinguishes itself as an indoor climate company. Our ambition is to be one of the leading suppliers that work for the health and comfort of people in the building. and as well as deliver the optimal indoor climate solutions with the lowest possible lifecycle cost. By the way, anyone knows what the casa means? So casa means house in Spanish. So this is why we use the brand name for decentralized ventilation. So here is our agenda for today's section. We'll be looking at some key features of the casa family with some example layout, and we'll be looking at some existing casa projects together. Before we look at the products, let's look at some key features of passive house projects. So normally when we look at a PHI buildings, some design factors will be highlighted, such as airtight construction, minimized thermal bridging, higher performance openings, whole envelope insulation, as well as high performance energy or heat recovery ventilator, which is the one that we're going to focus today. So what makes casa different than other ERVs in the marketplace? So basically casa unit, first of all, they're passive house rated, which means high standard of efficiency in the first place, right? In both recovery efficiency and the fan power efficiency. And recovery wheel operates as the first stage heat and cool source. And because the high recovery efficiency, depending on the model, we can get up to 86%, the downstream heating and cooling energy can be saved. And also as 100% outdoor air system, you're not using recycle or return air to heat or cool your space. So that better indoor air quality can be achieved because you always bring in fresh outdoor air for ventilation. Secondly, casa unit offers the lowest noise level in the market because we're using EC motors for the fans, which is much quieter and more efficient than those with VFDs. So as an example, we're talking about roughly 45 dB noise level and let's say 40 NC. As a reference, human whisper is about like 30 dB. The next unique feature is that in wintertime, even at cold climate, like here in Calgary or Edmonton, right? So casa unit can provide outside air without preheat. Well, I mean, in here, we might need preheat, which I can cover that later. But in other territory, like in BC or some other territory, which is warmer, we might not even need preheat because of how the wheel operates. Whenever there's a risk of frosting, other ERV models on the market they normally shut off the outside air supply, but casa does not. Casa unit can modulate the wheel speed along with the fan speed for defrost cycle operation, like I said, and I'll spend more time on that topic later. And lastly, we don't need a special ducting kit to install the casa unit. This contract with some other PH ERVs like a Zenda unit that needs a proprietary ducting kit, which sometimes could be expensive and less convenient. So looking at the product family, we now have launched 5 models so far in North America. So we have Casa R4C, which is the one on the left. This is the horizontal unit, and we do have a vertical duct connection unit, R3, R5, R7, and R9. So the recommended airflow for each unit size and dimensions of this as well, after the section, our HVAC friends can forward you the full completed casa brochure with more detailed information regarding this matter. So let's look at the energy recovery device in more details, which is one of the most important components for casa unit. So whenever there's a temperature gradient between the outside airstream and the return airstream, the wheel will be running to recover energy or heat in summer and winter. The latent and enthalpy recovery are optimized in all casa units, so you can operate the unit in colder climate. During economizer hours or free cooling hours, the unit will supply with constant outdoor air without operating the rotor. And also thanks to the special purging design, we can achieve low cross-contamination rate between the return airstream and the supply airstream, which can be lower than 3%. Again, the fans with EC motors, which means lower energy consumption and quiet operation. And the filters we use by default, those are the MERV 13 plated filters on both outdoor air intake and return airstream, so that the rotor can be well protected. The filters could be easily upgraded to MERV 15 if needed as a project-by-project basis. The rotor is with DC stepper motor, which means the rotor speed can be modulated for humidity control, defrost mode, operation, and so on. So more importantly, what sets casa apart is the cold weather operation. So in cold operation, it can be achieved by slowing the wheel down to 1.2 RPM. and boost the supply and exhaust airflow, or boost exhaust airflow in maintaining the supply airflow. This is normally how we looking at the defrost cycle operation. So normally we can easily to put in some other accessories like the heaters, cooling coils in the ductwork if you need to supply further tempered air into the space. So here are some examples how you can add additional cooling or heating to the CASA model. You can have the supply air duct integrate with, you can put a duct-mounted cooling coil, can be either water, chill water coil, or DX coil if you need to further temper the air to a lower dew point downstream of the energy recovery unit. And in more circumstances, we can easily integrate it in for preheaters or post heaters or both into the ductwork. So that, let's say for your territory, we don't want the wheel to be getting to defrost mode that often because outside it's pretty cold. And then you can put the preheaters before the unit, making sure that the entering air condition is good enough so that the wheel will not easily get into the defrost mode. If your supply air temperature is not meeting your requirements, and you can easily implement into another post heat coil to further temper the air. I would say in Edmonton or like similar Calgary weather, which is cold, we would suggest that you put a preheater if the outside ambient temperature is lower than, let's say, 25 C or minus 13 Fahrenheit, right? But project by project, this number could be different because how the wheel operates always related to how the return air temperature and humidity level is. So we need to look at things all together. But as a rule of thumb, if the outside air temperature is less than minus 25 degrees or minus 13 Fahrenheit, we would suggest you to put in some sort of preheat before the unit. And the CASA unit can integrate with any third-party cooker hood and other accessories as listed here. And the cooker hood is integrated by providing a 0 to 10 volt signal for balanced airflow. And as mentioned before, CASA does not require the use of special accessories or ducting, piping kits, so that you can use any separate equipment that you use. And we can always use some sort of sound attenuators, duct-mounted DX cooling coil, hydronic coils, electric heaters, so on and so forth, in a pretty easy way. So another good feature is how easy CASA can be installed. Like I said, all you have to do after installing the bracket and piping is to lift up the CASA unit, and a spring-loaded hood will snap into the place pretty easy. You can also do the vapor barrier, and which will protect your drywall from any condensation. This is pretty similar to your bathroom fan vapor barriers. Here is just one example, shows a CASA installation in the basement with a hydronic coil installed in the ductwork. So some more installation pictures. The left one shows basically a CASA wall-mounted unit offset from the ceiling in the mechanical room areas near a shop sink. And the right one shows a CASA ceiling-mounted unit inside a bathroom. Both of the unit CASA R5. So here is the CASA hanging out inside the laundry room with some extra cabinet storage underneath. Again, this is an R5 unit. So here's another example of one bedroom suite, right, with the above attic ducting, if you can see from the picture and the schematic. So you can see how the CASA might be used with returning the air from the bathroom, from the kitchen and laundry areas, and the air will be getting the recovery heat from the return airstream and use that as a preheat source to heat up the outside air, which is from outside the building, and then supply the air to the living area spaces. So the use of CASA can also be used to eliminate extra fans in the suite. In this example, the bathroom fans, kitchen fans, and laundry fans is removed in favor of the CASA return air systems. So here's another example of a larger multi-room suite. So typically, supply airflow will be provided to the more occupied areas. This is a larger suite and would likely be requiring a larger CASA unit. And the CASA unit in this area can be wired to other fans to help with air balancing. I'll cover that a little bit later on. Another example of how CASA being used in apartment buildings. So as you can see here, each suite is having its own decentralized unit, better control, better air quality, and it's pretty easy to handle. So another unique feature is that CASA can help to balance the air pressure in the suite, right? As I described before, we can easily integrate into the kitchen hood with the CASA unit. So in this example, the cooker hood fan is connected to connected to the CASA ERVs. The CASA has a special connector for receiving a cookie-hood cable, and this must be enabled during commissioning. And then the CASA unit can speed up or slow down the fans as needed to compensate the pressure differences. Talking about the controls, so basically the CASA ERVs has built-in sensors and programming that help to reduce energy consumption. So residents can easily monitor the indoor air quality, such as relative humidity, CO2, VOC, and temperature, and adjust the ventilation to their needs, or let the intelligent control to adjust the ventilation automatically. So the importance of the good space temperature control is always emphasized. But at the meantime, humidity control is also pretty critical for buildings, especially for PHI buildings with airtight enclosures, right? So meaning that you can easily trap the humidity inside the building if you don't have a good humidity control. Like people are doing like showers or doing the cooking, the excess moisture inside the space could penetrate the building enclosure and then cause all sorts of issues like mold or something like that. And CASA unit can regulate the rotor speed and the fan speed to maintain the space humidity level. So let's say you have a relative humidity sensor in space, which is set to a certain RH value, let's say 30%. So once the return air humidity level is high, the rotor speed can be adjusted, meaning that you don't want to recover the latent energy if you don't need to, right? And then the fan speed can be increased, which allow you to bring in more drier outside air to ramp down the space humidity. Also, some optional sensors like CO2 sensors or VOC sensors can be applied for demand control ventilation, which is everybody likes, right, to reduce the energy consumption in buildings. And also we can do the pressure transducer housing. It's also available for constant duct pressure functionality. Last but not the least, the CASA unit uses the Modbus control and requires an external router to convert to back if needed. So right now, we have more than global-wise 400,000 plus Swigon CASA unit installed in the world. Majority of them right now are in Europe, but right now we're pretty excited to bring those units to our home here in North America. So here is some world-class CASA projects. These are project examples from Europe where CASA is installed in Finland. Finland, that the weather can get pretty cold as here, right, in Edmonton. And also some North America examples. Those are some projects that we have in New York and some local projects, right, in BC. And the last picture shows a project in Edmonton, which is the CFIA project. This is also the first CASA installation in North America. I do believe the startup date is April the 19th, but Rodney can comment on that, which is last week. And the expect building occupancy is going to be the week of May 1st, 2023. So this is a pretty fresh local CASA project. So in summary, CASA ERVs, HRVs comes in different sizes. Some of the units are Passive House rated, and we are in the good process to get all the unit PHI certified. And because of fan operation, the unit is quiet and pretty easy to install with the mounting bracket. The CASA unit provides demand control ventilation by monitoring CO2, VOC level in space, and we can provide continuous outdoor air with huge energy saving, and it can offer good indoor humidity control. And also CASA can help to maintain balanced air pressure by interfacing with the exhaust fans or the cook-hood system in the suite. And also the enthalpy energy recovery is optimized, which solves the humidity issue in the suite, and which also allows to operate the CASA unit with extreme cold conditions. Sometimes without preheat, but if the outside air temperature gets even colder, we can easily implement preheat into the system. That's it. So that's all I want to share. And thank you for your time and attention. So any questions?
Sorry, great. Thank you, Yiteng. That was excellent and good to see some more passive host certified ERVs coming to the North American market to help compete with some of the ones that have been here for a while. One or two questions that I have before I open it to the floor. So it looks like right now only the CASA R7 is passive house certified. So are the rest of them just passive house verified, or what's kind of the status?
So right now R7 and R9 is ETL listed and PHI certified. So the process is done for R7 and R9. We're in the process to get R4C, R3, and R5, both ETL and PHI certified, which could be done sometime in June this year. But we'll announce that once we get the whole process done.
And they are, I guess, they're all assumed HVI certified, so they are certified for installation in Canada.
Correct.
And I guess if we wanted to find the HVI data, we could just go to the HVI website and the data is all there, or should we talk to you guys about the data?
Yeah, you can always go to the PHI website as well, right, to get the documents. And once the certificate process is done, and the unit it's searchable in the PHI website.
Perfect. I guess you mentioned you do have acoustic ducts, so do you kind of always install those just to knock down the fan noise a bit more, or is it dependent, or kind of a bit about acoustics?
Depends, right? So like I said, the Casa unit is pretty quiet in the first place, like a 45 dB. The noise level is on the low end in the market. So, but that silencer is totally optional. So if you want to include them, we can easily include some attenuators with the unit. So the noise level is even less at the building site. But that's optional.
Okay. And it looks like you guys don't have a proprietary ductwork, so just a normal trunk and branch sheet metal ductwork system is fine?
That's correct. We don't need a proprietary ducting kit. So everything is like we have the bracket already. It's almost like you can pretty easily install those things in the room once you have the ship.
I guess same thing for diffusers, any type of diffusers, that as long as they're adjustable, acceptable, or do you have specific diffusers?
We do have different diffusers. Sometimes we might need to adding some trinkets, but depending on the diffuser type, we can look at things differently. But we do have North Americanized diffusers that you don't need to worry about the fit into the ceiling tile.
So you work down, you don't need any preheating over the energy entropy wheel down to -25. So if some of our clients were down to -40, so do the electric preheaters that you guys supply, are they modulating? Are they on, off? How do they work, and how do you size them?
Normally we can use the heater. If it's electric heater, we can use the SCR control, right? So they're going to be modulating heater. There with SCR, and if it's hydronic, for sure you have modulating valves, right? But normally how we size the heater is we can easily run the wheel and put in the condition of the heater, and also put in some return air condition, so that if we don't see the wheel has the frost concern, like the exhaust temperature is less than freezing point and saturated, then we're pretty confident that at that condition, the wheel will not easily to get into the defrost mode. So that's how we size the heater. Normally, rule of thumb, we can easily size the heater, let's say at 0 Fahrenheit or something. But if the outside air temperature is less than -13 Fahrenheit, for example, then we will highly recommend it that we include some sort of preheat before the air is hitting the wheel, because we all know that it's pretty easy for the wheel to get into defrost mode, right? Some engineers, they try to avoid that, and we can use the preheat, make sure the wheel will not get into the defrost mode, and do the things like that.
Okay. I guess a bit more on the sensors. So what does the unit come with? Kind of 4 temperature sensors, and does it also have an integrated humidity sensor, or are those kind of sensors you have to add on to get more control and variability?
The unit will come with the temperature sensors for sure, and some of the humidity sensor. Let's say if you want to measure the room humidity level, you can always put in the room sensors in the space, so that you can easily wire that to the Casa unit, so that the Casa unit fans and the wheel can be modulated to maintain the space humidity level. But by default, we do have the temperature sensors with the unit.
Another question, I guess, a bit more about the controls. So is it always a proprietary control system, or can you integrate to kind of more standard or more open sourced building automation systems or building control systems?
So the control, the Casa has its own control algorithm. I would say pretty similar. Everybody's using Ecobee or those systems in-house, right? So we do have a similar app that you can install in your smartphone, and then you can have different modes to set up the control logic. Let's say boost mode, in-house mode, leave mode, travel mode, something like that, right? So that everything is connect to the control algorithm. So you can easily modulate the unit, play with the fan speed, boost, something like that. So, but right now the Casa can be controlled via Mobus. It's a pretty typical way to control the unit. So if you need a pretty high level, like a backnet system, you will need to sort out some sort of third-party router and do that. But right now, the Casa is come with a compatible in Mobus control for now.
I think I saw in the picture, so you guys don't need any condensate drains, so you have a little more ability to install it in smaller locations because you're an ERV?
Correct. Because of the high latent recovery efficiency, right? The wheel is being coated with desiccant 4A desiccant materials. So because of the high latent recovery efficiency, it's pretty hard to have the condensate with the rotor. And we at design we always want to watch that. So, but we don't have any drain pans underneath the unit or CASA unit, and the main reason is that we do have pretty high latent recovery to get rid of the moisture, so that the condensate issue can be relieved.
And is it just a simple 15 amp 60 hertz plug, or is it an odd East European plug?
It's a standard like a 220 single phase.
I guess there's a question about the volumes. Can you put up that slide you had that had the air volumes of each of the different size units again?
Sure. Yeah. So basically R4C and R3, they're pretty much the same range, right? We can operate it between 50, 60 CFM to 170, 180 CFM. R5, it's from 70 to 250, R7, 120 to 400, and R9 is 140 to 510. So right now, these are the existing model number, but later on, we'll be launch even bigger unit size once we have things sorted out. But right now, I would say the biggest one, it's R9, which can handle up to 510 CFM.
Yeah, so perfect from basically everything down to a kind of 1 or 2 bedroom apartment all the way up to probably a 4 bedroom house.
Yes.
And the integration for the hood fan, it's basically just a control. The hood fan still is a direct outside vent, but it changes the speeds on the unit so that the unit doesn't go out of balance and the house doesn't go out of balance?
That's correct. So normally when you have an exhaust fan and the cooker hood, right? So if you turn it on and the system, the CASA system know that you are exhaust more air to outside. So the building could become like a negative pressure. So the fan could be increased speed and compensate that much airflow so that the building pressure is not going to be hugely in imbalance. It's going to be wired out to the CASA unit. So this the exhaust fan, it's wired out to the CASA ERV. So the ERV can compensate for any pressure loss or anything you want to achieve inside the building.
Does it have pressure sensors then on either side of the airflows to measure that unbalance, or is it just a kind of pre-calculated?
It's a pre-calculated. So it's going to be a wire between the exhaust fan system to the CASA unit. And if you want, you can also have some optional pressure sensor, right, as a separate kit so that you can maintain the duct pressure or something like that. But this one, it's going to be like a calibrated control.
And does that cooker hood then have an activated charcoal filter on it? Or I guess if it's going outside, it doesn't need it. Or what type of filters come with the cooker hood?
I would say it's that thing could be not standard, or you can do whatever you want. But normally, as a package, then Swigan, we in order to have the full system work in a more compatible way, we have our own cooker hood recommendations, which I can send. Maybe Rodney can send you some supporting materials later, so that there's no compatibility issue. But yeah, we would recommend it that we use some sort of Swigan compatible cooker hood system along with the CASA ERVs.
Nice, yes, definitely nice feature. What's the warranty on the units? And I guess are they warranted for just residential, or some warranted for actually small commercial use?
We can offer like a 5 years parts only warranty on the recovery devices, but normally, this unit's pretty stable. So warranty wise, we can always extend it, but normally five years. The parts only warranty is our standard for those CASA.
Do the wheel filters need to be replaced, or because you have the MERV 13s on either side of it, it's protected?
Because we use the MERV 13 on either side of the airstream, so it's pretty less common to replace the wheel. But the filters, yes, I would say maybe after every 6 months, you might want to replace those plated filters and see if it's loaded or anything like that. So, but you don't need to do that pretty often. So it's pretty stable MERV 13 plated filters on both airstreams. But every 6 months, that could be a good time span for the future maintenance and replacement.
If we want to go out and buy one, what's is it current availability, or does it have to be shipped from overseas? I guess what's the lead time for procuring one of these?
So right now, the lead time could be 8 weeks approximately, and depending on if you want to ship them by ocean, by air freight, it could be by ocean could be 6 weeks lead time. And we're planning to have some of the unit in stock because they come with standard sizes here in North America, and then the lead time could be even shorter. But right now, for like project by project, we always ship some unit with some other project come to our Toronto office altogether so that we can relieve the free charge. But later on, we're planning to make things install in North America as well for the CASA unit. But right now, if you have order and the order is being released from the European factory, right?
Okay, so still coming from overseas currently, but hopefully we'll get some on the shelves shortly.
But we don't normally ship the unit one by one, right? Because of the size, the dedicated size unit. So normally we have some more project. We'll ship them in they're gonna share a container, and then they're all gonna be shipped here, and then we're gonna do the inspection here in North America, and then the unit will be shipped to the job site.
And do you have, I guess, commissioning agents in kind of Alberta area right now, or how do you ensure that how it got installed is how it was designed?
We do have our service department who can be assisting our sales rep HVAC system to do the commissioning and startup. But later on, I would say, Rodney, it's also your question, and you might want to explain how we did a startup for that Edmonton project. We can always be there if needed, but normally we will do the partnership with the sales rep, which is the HVAC system.
Rodney, do you want to come back on and answer any of the pricing or availability or any other kind of questions along those lines?
Yes, the comment on pricing is extremely project dependent. As Yiteng stated, it depends on quantity orders. If we can bulk them together with a current shipment that's coming over from Finland to the main factory right here in Ontario, that's all differing factor, of course, especially if you need expedited shipping by air freight. As Yiteng also said, yes, you can get expedited shipping if it's critical for your project. Right now, we're looking into CASA R5s potentially for projects to arrive for June or July 2023. So everything is possible. All we need to do is have a discussion with us and with the factory. With regards to the startup, not every project will require a startup. Normally, once our startup contractor, so for Northern Alberta, for the Edmonton and St. Albert area, our partners are Blackstone Mechanical, and they were involved with our startup training officer, Henry Wiedemeyer of Swagon North America last week, where they started the CFIA office fit up project. So they are fully capable of helping you with any of your startup needs and can also provide some assistance along with Swagon for if you need any startup needs for your Southern Alberta projects as well. Project budgets are always project dependent, as accessories always dictate that. Blackstone Mechanical can help with startup for your projects as required. And once they pretty much get one started, it becomes more of a copy paste option actually. What I mean by that is it's pretty simple to start up the unit from the controller, not as complicated as the startup sequences that you require for the larger Swagon Gold RX or PX units, which fill the 500 to 16,000 CFM needs for larger multi-unit residential building or commercial projects. And at the same time, there's one thing I don't think we talked about too much for controls. Swagon CASA's controls, they're Modbus based. We can also do about 5 boost and wall timer switches tied on in parallel to the unit. And I believe, Yiteng, you might have to correct me on this. It is possible to integrate into home automation systems that are also on Modbus protocol.
That's correct.
It's something people have been asking about lately. But unfortunately, this unit is not capable for a full BACnet integration. I believe the most, if you ever did encounter a project or a house or a multi-unit residential that needed BACnet automation, they could provide a gateway, but not full BACnet integration for this unit. BACnet integration would only be available for the larger version of the unit, the Swagon Gold RX and PX series, and also the Swagon Gold SD series, which is the non-energy recovery core unit.
I think it is mentioned, but just remind us again that you do have all the CSA certifications and HVI certifications. I guess if you've installed them in Canada a few times, that you haven't run in with any problems with inspectors or such not seeing the right stamps on the units.
not that we're aware of. And right now, like I said, the R7 and R9, it's fully ETL listed, and those are also the PHI certified unit. But in terms of smaller size, R4C, R3, and R5, we're about to get the ETL listing in late June this year, as well as the PHI certificate. But no issue that I see that with the logos and those stuff for the CSA requirements.
Good. We don't want that to kind of get in the way as it has done sometimes in the past. So not directly related to this, but if there was, say, an existing HRV that's still working, maybe 8 to 10 years old, so it's still working, but it doesn't have the heat wheel like you guys do, so much below minus 15, it starts to slow down, it doesn't work as well. So does, I guess, HVAC systems have any options that might be able to be retrofitted into that unit to help it keep running even in the colder climates?
Yes, if the product is not at the end of its life cycle, we would recommend you provide a duct mount preheater. It can either be electric, or we can even coordinate installation of a hydronic preheater that could possibly be sized with a simple control valve on an aquastat that could be tied into your existing domestic hot water system. If you're at the end of the life cycle of your unit, we would, of course, recommend a higher energy recovery unit, 80 to 85 plus efficiency, where the defrost, due to its nature of its construction and its controls, wouldn't need as much preheat until you're well below minus 19 degrees Celsius. But the simplest solution would be you need a duct preheat to avoid your defrost cycle. And we're more than happy to help you with that.
Do the kitchen units have separate filters or specific filters for keeping all that kitchen grease and whatnot out of the unit, or is that all contained within the primary filter?
So that one we might need to look into it to see if we do have some special requirements for the cook hood unit, and if we do require some sort of special filter systems. But that one we're gonna investigate and we'll let you know.
Excellent. And I guess I would just, if you're just doing a direct exhaust kitchen hood, if you're just doing the recirculating one, then you don't really need any interconnection with the unit because you're not depressurizing your house.
Right.
Correct. You would just need a standard carbon filter if you're using a recirculating kitchen hood.
Yeah, assuming you're all electric. If you have gas, then you need to be a direct exhaust.
And then you just have a return air somewhere near the kitchen to take that kitchen air out, or is that generally that's all that's done is just this recirc right in the kitchen?
I think Yiteng, you had one of your slides, you had a nice diagram of where some of the exhausts go in the kitchen. So yeah, maybe if you can talk to kind of if the Swagon's recommendations on the location of the kitchen exhaust going back to the HRV or ERV.
I think the one that we discussed was.
So is that generic one, and they can also have one that's within 10 feet of the kitchen area as well.
Okay, so generally those ones that you would put towards the kitchen area and the bath area to get your return air out of those zones, you would keep them out of where they'd be getting direct kind of filtration, if you will, especially if you're going with a recirculating unit above your cooktop.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe there were still provisions in the building code for that as well.
Thank you guys both very much. Lots of good information. Nice, good looking product. I like the minus 25 for the defrost. That's actually a big advantage over some of the other ones, especially in our colder climates. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.